Anetons, connecting professionals.
Right, guys, let's start. So, thank you everyone for joining from both the batch. I thought it's very important because one of the candidate has recently visited. I hope everyone is able to hear me, right?
Yes, I will.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So one of the candidate, he recently, got an opportunity for one of the interviews for Intune plus SSM lead role. And one of the candidate, he got an opportunity for L2 level for Intune and SCCM environment. So what sort of questions that were asked, I have already curated, and what could have been an answer for the perfect match. So the selection process gets more easier and you get steps clear without any hassle. Okay, so step one, the first round, that was technical round. Okay, in the technical round, the first question was asked, what is your current environment? Okay, what are you doing in your current environment? So he explained that he is already having like 10,000 odd machines in his environment, and he's using Jamf for macOS devices, which are approx 200 devices there, and including mobile devices, Windows devices, and iOS and iPad. It's approx 7,000 odd machines, which are 7,000 odd endpoints devices, which are there. So he just wanted to know how is your infrastructure currently and how are you managing it. Okay, so as an lead and as an L2, I'll explain both of those answers. As a lead, he said that I was the one who actually set up everything from Intune for these MDM devices, mobile device management. For these devices, I did manage to set up the infrastructure. Or if you did not get the opportunity to manage to set up the infrastructure, if it's set by the client, still you can mention that I was the one who was involved at core level when the initial setup was executed, and I know how to set things and how to manage in all sort of aspects. So that was the first answer, like how is your infrastructure setup and how things are moving, and how as an endpoint engineering, how you guys are doing all sort of troubleshooting. So that was the question, like how is your current infrastructure. Second question, let me do like this. Let me complete the Intune lead role or L4 level, then I will come to L2 level. Okay, so L4 level, first question was how was the infrastructure. So he mentioned that yes, I did set up everything at the core level and I have very good rapport with the client. So when you're saying you have a good rapport, means your behavioral approach also comes into the picture. Okay, whenever, first of all, let me clear out before answering anything. Okay, be very calm and very relaxed in front of camera if you're doing it online or you're doing a face to face. Okay, be very relaxed and try to be in formal dress. Okay, and do not rotate your eyes here and there. Keep stick or glue your eyes in front of the face of the interviewer. Do not gaze him. Okay, otherwise he will feel offended for that. Maybe try to be as calm as possible and be as natural as you could. Okay, or you can. So be very polite, humble, and take a pause when you're speaking, and ensure that you're not resembling like you have learned is like a puppet or something. Okay, you have all in your mind or just keep on telling. Okay, take a pause. So first question was how is your infrastructure setup. So in current scenario, the infrastructure is around 10,000 machines, and in current infrastructure we were using SCCM plus Intune. Now we have deprecated most of the features from SCCM, and we are not utilizing the licenses front as well, because like SCCM cost licenses and infrastructure and other piece of costing, which can be removed if possibly if we are moving to the cloud management. Okay, so now in current scenario we are more focused on the Intune part, which is more of cloud based management tool. Fine, so that was the first question. Okay, second question, he has asked, over SCCM and Intune, which tool do you prefer most and why? And what could have been a better approach, in terms of using these tools? Okay, so there are two tools. One is SCCM, one is Intune. SCCM is more of on-premise devices for Windows 10 and 11. Okay, SCCM does require an Active Directory infrastructure. It does require a certificate authority server and all sort of piece of work we require. Okay, but with Intune, everything is moved into the cloud, and we have scalability, we have licensing, and we can do it dynamically. We can dynamically, we can extend the limit. For example, on my on-premises, if I'm stick to 5,000 devices, what if I got a merger with another company and I got 50,000 devices added? So for us, it would be a tedious task to manage all these devices, add those devices to SCCM, and all add this, then install the clients and manage all sort of things. So setting up the policies, group policy, all things does involve, which requires much attention and intervention. At the same time, if you are using Intune, it gets more easier. It's more better approach, and by managing one console, we can manage all n number of the devices. There is no limit. Okay, because Intune runs on Azure Fabric services, where the expansion can be unlimited. It can be infinite, and you don't need to take any extra burden or overhead for setting up any extra layer of security or infrastructure or anything. Okay, so that is the first piece. So over SCCM and Intune, I would say SCCM at point, it is marvelous. It is absolutely fine when we are managing on-premise devices. Now, since co-management has pitched in, we have options to import those devices from on-premises to Intune as well. Through the cloud, we can manage these, we can manage the policies, we can manage the apps and all sort of things. But still, I would prefer to go with the cloud management solution or modern device management, which is Intune. And Intune is a future. Intune is a future because Microsoft is also pushing Intune. Why? Because they want everything to come from on-premise to cloud, so that management of the devices gets better and easier. So in my opinion, I would suggest I would go with the Intune. Okay, that was the second question. Third question he did ask, like, what is the best approach of taking the report? Okay, was it SCCM or was it Intune? So of course, Intune SCCM had it had a robust capability of fetching all sort of reports, which Intune I would say Intune does not have that capability still. Okay, still SCCM beats that, and still there are lots of add-ons that we can utilize with SCCM. We can create multiple reports, multiple sort of reports, depends upon like patch my PC and all sort of things. We can integrate with SCCM, we can pull the reporting side. But though Intune does not provide that scalable report or that robust like we require as an IT admin, but still whatever reports are available or whatever integration we can do is fine. We can also integrate Power BI, where we can create multiple sort of reports as per our need, as per the technical need. For example, my client just want to oversee about the tenant, so I can have that report. If my current manager, he just want to see how many devices are there, if there is any compliances or not, if there is any conditional policies, what about the application failures, and what is the percentage of Windows feature updates maybe, or Windows updates, what sort of things. We can create a Power BI report, we can give it to them. As an admin, we require more granular report, which still we are working on it, and technically I would say Intune also adding more capabilities of fetching up the report. So I would say in future, certainly we will have good approach or good way of extracting the report. So, but still, I'm preferring Intune on the first piece. That was the third question. Then fourth question was, uh, how are you managing your clients? Do you have a direct client interaction, or you are going via someone? How are you getting connected with your client? So answer is, I have very good repo with client, though I do not we do not have any uh, requirement as such, or any hierarchy. Okay, but I'm talking about the lead, not L2 L1. I don't have any hierarchy. I can directly pitch in. I can connect to client's call, and I can suggest, I can rework, I can tell them the solutions, and accordingly. So I have very good rapport with the client, and lots of things which we discussed on plate. Okay, I make those requirements gathering and all sort of things I do, and then I prepare a document, a consolidated document. I share with my client and gets an approval, and accordingly I start working my uh, solutions. So when you're saying you have a very good rapport with your client, which understands, which interviews make understand that your behavior is really good. Okay, you are very approachable, you are very much confident about your solutions, and you are uh, driven by the solution, not by the problems. Okay, so whenever you sees any problem, you directly approach to your client, like, is there any problem happening, or do you want me to pitch in, you want me to help out? Or you connect with your L1 L2 or SD team, identify where is the pain area, where you require most support from us, and accordingly you gauge the patterns, you understand the trend, and if there is any new deployment has pushed, for example, Cisco agent just pushed and that has not been properly tested, or maybe some issues with the client, right, recently happened, Microsoft Windows update, Windows 11.24 H2 update. I am not recalling the version. It's KB08 it's something ending with 835. So that has abrupted the Mac OS screen itself. Okay, as some updates has also failed on machines. They are keep on restarting the machines. They're coming on the blue screen of that death. So all sort of scenarios if are coming, and as SD are getting multiple calls, so it's our responsibility to look at the trend, what happened all of a sudden, and then analyze, and then we rework to resolve that. So that is my role. Okay, as a if you say client interaction. Okay, so that was the question. Fourth question was, for example, you have Windows 10, iOS, you have Android, you have Mac OS and Intune devices. Okay, so how would you manage these devices? Okay, how do you manage, or how do you handle the application deployment for these type of devices? Okay, so these devices are absolutely having a separate platform. Okay, and they do not require any additional I would say intervention, right? What you can simply do, you can simply create device, like for Windows you can create app type devices like Windows 32. Okay, maybe exe or MSI that you can do. You can have Microsoft Store apps, you can have a line of business apps which is called LOB, you can create web applications, you can have PowerShell scripts. Okay, that is the Windows devices. Then iOS devices, you can have a app store. So whenever you're talking about the applications, so all like iOS, iPad, Android, they already have their Play Store added. Play Store means store app. Okay, they already have their dedicated app store, like Microsoft having Microsoft Store apps, iOS having App Store, okay, and Android having managed Google Play application store. So all these platforms having their own managed application store. For Windows, as you can mention that you can also create Win32 applications. For example, if you have any exe file which is there, and you just want to wrap it, okay, or you want to package it, so you can use an Intune Win tool. Using that, you can wrap it up and you can install it. Plus, you can have PowerShell scripts that you can also deploy in your environment. So Windows, we have Windows application apps installation, we have Microsoft apps store apps installation through, we have line of business applications, we have web applications, we have PowerShell scripts. So these ways that are supported, these are the app types which are supported for Windows, okay, that you can tell. Second, for iOS, just take a pause, then mention for iOS devices, we have like App Store applications, we have volume purchase program, which is called VPP. Okay, that applications are also there. You can customize your enterprise apps. If you're using Jamf or you're using Kanzi, you can customize these enterprise apps according to organizational need, and then you can add it to the deployment category, right? Then for Android, we have managed Google Play Application Store. Okay, then we have APK files, which is called LOB applications. So for LOB applications, like these are the legacy applications which have your client using it. For example, if I'm talking about banking, so they have some legacy application which they wants to run. Okay, for that we can have a APK file that we can wrap and we can deploy it to user's machine. Okay, and we can also have a web applications. So these devices have, though these devices having a different attributes, okay, but still we can use it. What best practices comes for these different across like these all platforms? First thing, create a dynamic group. This dynamic group will be used for target based deployment. Okay. Second, create a detection rule or maybe a requirement rule when you're doing a Windows 32 application installation. Okay. These two things are required, detection and requirement. Okay. That way we can ensure that its installation got succeeded or not. Then you can use a filter based targeting, which will give you more fine tuning in terms of targeting. For example, if I put a filter in a group, so I can have a filter where it will check for the OS version, it will check for the ownership, it will check for the certain criteria. Okay, I can mention in that filter. So straight away, if you're using any, for example, I have a group of devices. Okay, now I'm only targeting Android devices. So in these list of devices, I can add a filter where I can mention that operating system should be this. Okay, it should be manufactured by Google or something, and these should be the minimum version. Okay, that is required. So that way you can manage all these cross platforms, right? And then if you're using BYOD, so everyone is using BYOD concept, which means bring your own device. So here the first preference should be app protection policies. Okay, I am always answer in a such a way that you are one who are looking for hybrid plus cloud first strategy. That is your first goal. Second goal is show how secure you want to create the environment. Okay, highlight that security on top of everything. Mention that you are looking to create conditional access by using the defender compliance policies. You want to intact the security in the premises so that there should not be any chaos at end. And third thing, you should mention about the automation and self-service. Okay, automation means if you're deploying any application, if that's getting failed or it's been uh, what I say, it's failed or corrupted, so there should be a proactive remediation that should automatically heal that application and can fix the problem. So three things always, whenever you're giving the interview, three things always keep in mind. First, I'll just write it down here. Okay, so first thing is hybrid plus cloud first strategy. Okay, that is first thing. Second thing is highlight security. Okay, highlight security. Mention here that you are looking for conditional access Okay, and looking for Defender, all sort of things, and compliance. Okay, compliance. So this you need to tell, and then last thing you need to talk about the automation. Okay, automation plus self service. Three things always keep in mind whenever you are doing interview, giving the interview. These three things always put on your plate. Always take, consider this always telling on top upfrontly, and always look forward how you can ensure that security is the paramount thing. Okay, they don't want any organization, they don't want to compromise on the security. So mention that security, automation, two things. Automation will keep your uh, burden or overload. It will suffice, it will reduce your workload, and automation will help you know uh, curbing the extra manual work which you're doing or your team is doing, that you can resolve. Okay, and self service is something where you're creating a portal sort of things where users can directly approach, they can do the password reset, they can add the applications in their bucket, and approvals also gets automatically, so no one should be required to sit just to accept the request and then approve it in background. Okay, so these things always keep in mind that requires. Now the next question that was asked, what automation thing you have done in your current organization? Okay, what sort of automation have you done? So if you have mentioned anything in your CV, do not impersonate that you are just making any fake uh, you know word or any statement in terms of automation. What automation, if you have not done, I'll give you that, like what sort of things we can do in Intune. Okay, but what we have done in our current organization or current environment, first automation is talking about the app deployment automation. Okay, so in app deployment automation, we, like when you say Win32 application packaging, so we are using Windows Win app util tool package. Okay, so that package automatically do all sort of background thing, and it automatically creates the .intune win file, and that way we can do the automation. Second, we can automate application installation, configuration, or cleanup through a PowerShell script that you can do. Then Graph API, which is like Graph API plus PowerShell integration. Okay, that is also part of this course, we will cover later. So PowerShell automation plus Graph API. So this will automate your app creation, assignment, monitoring, all sort of things. You can do it from here as well. Okay. Next thing is, what automation would you do? You will talk about the policy and profile deployment. Profile deployment, for what you will do, like for example, Wi-Fi, VPN, certificates. Okay, all sort of things does require automation, where you can create configuration profiles. Okay, and you can have Wi-Fi authenticated, you can have VPN authenticated, you can have certificate based authentication. Okay, then compliance policies you can create. Okay, you can create security baselines. You can create dynamic groups for auto targeting devices or user based. Okay, as per the attribute. For example, in dynamic group you will mention that if the OS version is this, if the manufacturer is this, and if the group does not, that group having any VDI machines or VMware machines, okay, those should be excluded. So that dynamic group can be automatically created. So as soon any machine checks in, it will be automatically added to that dynamic group. And if you have created any policy or configuration policies or profiles, that will automatically target it to that profile. Okay, or that group. So in such way, you don't need to do anything extra manually, right? That is the profile automation. Then third, talk about the device lifecycle management. So this is very common question nowadays. People are asking, what is device lifecycle management? So in this, you can mention that we are currently using Windows Autopilot. With Windows Autopilot, we are doing automated device provisioning using deployment profile. Okay. we are using self-deploying mode for kiosk and share devices. Okay, in that way, you can mention that you are already one step ahead. You are not working on the legacy environment approach where we were doing the imaging through SCCM when we having a uh, images we are downloading from images, then we extracting the uh, enterprise edition from those images, then we're creating a golden image sort of things, we are deploying it, then we are using MDT or Pixie to deploy these to network devices. So that is not the case here. We are using Windows Autopilot, which is more advanced, which is more one step ahead. We don't require users to come to the office or sit for 1 hour or 2 hours just to boot their just to re-image their machine and then drive back to their home. So now through Windows Autopilot, this portion has already covered, and we have already saved. You can mention the percentage as well. We have already saved 40% of extra effort or manual efforts, okay, by employing the Windows Autopilot approach in our environment. Then uh, enrollment automation, what you can say that for auto enroll devices we are using group policy. Okay, so group policy, and also we are having Intune automating enrollment, that is turned on, which means as soon the device is coming and logging in with your credential, it will automatically connect to MDM solution. If not, then we have a group policy which will automatically detect the machines, and as soon the policy is checked in, that machine will automatically add it to Intune portal. Plus, for Apple devices, there is Apple DEP. Okay, that Apple will talk when we will be doing Android session, Apple and Android session, and Android we have Android Zero Touch. Okay, so these three approaches we can use: group policy for Windows devices, Apple DEP, which will help you to do all sort of corporate devices. We can directly add it to the Apple Business Manager, and from there we can manage these devices. And then Android Zero Touch installation. Okay, if he is asking what about the security automation, what are you doing? So for security automation, we are creating conditional access policies. We have already integrated Defender for endpoint integration, and we are using app protection policies for BYOD devices. BYOD means bring your own devices. And we are also using Intune filter for granular targeting. So security wise, we are filtering is very robust way of handling groups. If you have groups and you have so many people in that group, if you have created filters, that way you can narrow down, or you can do more granular targeting. Okay, from scripting based scripting, if he's asking what sort of scripts have you created, okay, is part of automation. So mention that we have created a PowerShell script through which we are automatic automated way we are doing cleanup task for the removal of stale devices. Okay, that is the one script, and this script is very common in all the organizations. Everyone is using this script, remove stale devices. Second script is for bulk assignment for the applications and policies. We are also use PowerShell script. Okay, so from PowerShell we can do lots of things via script, but tell them that you're not a developer, you don't have a much you know you don't have much visibility on the scripting side. But yes, we have a test environment where we test out all sort of scripts, and we ensure that yes, these scripts are not producing any sort of errors or issues in the production environment. Okay, so that way we can do all things. Last thing, if he's asking what about the integration automation, what sort of integration have you done? So mention that Azure AD or Entra ID, that is part of integration, and that is for the identity automation. Okay, then we have tenant attach. Okay, that is for the hybrid management. So if I have on-premises devices and if I have cloud devices, both the devices are there, both the environment are there. So to conjunct both environment, okay, with that conjunction, you require a tenant attach. Okay, so that you can have SCCM plus Intune talking to each other. Then okay, that was the automation piece. Then the question was asked what you know about the Copilot. Okay, and what have you used as in Copilot? Have you used just Copilot for giving the prompts and getting the answer, or have you utilized this in any other way? Okay, so Copilot having uh, one is Copilot and one is Copilot Studio. Okay, so Copilot Studio is something where you can create an agent. Okay, that agent you can have like let me see if I can show you Copilot. Uh, uh, so if you go to agents here, okay, so you can create agents like this. Okay, I let me do one thing. Let me take it separate class. Okay, because you will get confused. Copilot Studio, what it does, there is two ways. One, either you can collect the inventory from directly from your cloud or internet. The second is you can route the resource gathering from your internal space. For example, you have SharePoint on intranet or anything that you have on documents on intranet. So you can route that Copilot to fetch the data from intranet and share this with the employees. For example, in the current organization, I have employees who are working for telecom industry. Okay, they do not come office daily, but they want to know about what is the recent changes in the policies and what is their incentive. Okay, how much balance, leave balance of them, and how they can connect to the transport team, all sort of things they can. Using that agent, they can question whatever they want, and that agent connects to the resource which is available offline at intranet and fetches the information and shares this to those employees. So that automation we have created using Copilot Studio. Okay, so that thing you can mention in your interviewer, and no one is going to ask like why you have said this and that, can you tell me the approach and all. Mention that this is very critical and confidential, I cannot talk on that. Okay, plain and simple. So that was the automation piece. The next question was, have you used any AI tools in your enterprise environment, your end user, as an end user computing, what sort of AI tools have you used? Okay, so as per your experience, if you have not used any AI, so you can mention that like Azure Foundry. Okay, that is one of that. Let me see if I can ai.azure.com. So this is one of the uh, Microsoft's Azure AI Foundry. It is more of, you can do all sort of things. You can create like, let me check the Foundry models. So they are using GPT 4.0, 4.0 mini and all sort of things. Mistral, Phi, DeepSeek, all. So using this, we can create our agents. Okay, and we can tell these agents to do what. In example, I'm just telling you. For example, you want to create an agent who just when you type, I want to look for Mercedes Benz. For example, I'm just giving a quote because Mercedes is my personal favorite. So Mercedes Benz C 200 220D or maybe 200. So I'm just giving this agent, give me the data on this this topic. Okay, so what it will do, first agent will extract the data from internet, the relevant one, not the garbage. Okay, then it will give the second agent is the editor agent. Okay, that editor agent will look for the information, it will gather the information, it will analyze if there is any missing piece. For example, it does not talk about the engine specification, or it does not talks about the capacity of the car, whatever. So it will re-ask the question to the agent will give the details again. Once the editor agent is okay, understanding, okay, fine, all the information are correct, then it will pass this editor agent to next agent, which is called reporting agent. Okay, that reporting agent will analyze the data, it will give a go ahead as an approval, and then there will be a publish agent. That email will send an email to the clients or whosoever is added with the email address, and it will give all sort of information which has captured in a nice brief bullet points. Okay, so that way we can create these AI foundry models agents. Okay, and we require a little coding as well. Okay, which will you can directly connect with the chat gpt or copilot or something. You can get all these there, and then you can create your agent. So AI foundry is the one which now they have already adding this in the questions, in the interview questions. If what sort of AI tools are you started using for endpoint engineering? Okay, so you can mention this Azure AI Foundry. This is one of them. I mean, there are so many AI tools which are available, but since it's coming from Microsoft, so you must be knowing about AI Foundry. Okay, so this was the question from AI perspective. Then the next question was asked from end user computing. If you are managing to from end user computing, if you are managing end user end to end, okay, how you are interacting with the vendor and how you are ensuring the devices are ready to go. Okay, for which are meeting the compliance for endpoint engineering. Okay, so when you're connecting with vendor, when you're answering this, so tell them like we are very much stringent, we are very much particular about the end user computing device compliance. Okay, hardware level, I'm talking about the hardware, not software. So hardware level, first of all, I'm ensuring that whatever devices I'm getting from my vendor, those are on the right hardware specification, they are on the like latest Windows 11, okay, operating system. Hardware is also on top of it. Then graphic media and all sort of things. I'm stating that my vendor is need to stick to the latest and greatest, hardware level. If there is any compromise on that front, so I directly escalate this to client and mention client to take the necessary action, so that vendor should give you the right hardware. Okay, so by that, for example, we were having HP Engage Go, okay, earlier in previous accounts. So we requested clients to deprecate these HP Engage Go devices, because those were not meeting the compliance, those were not meeting the end user computing hardware level scenarios. So we have requested them to replace it with Dell new model. Okay, so that way we have ensured that our environment is safeguarded and we are running on top of the latest and greatest hardware models, and which are compliant, okay, by the industry standard. So that was the level 1. Okay, and from level this was the lead role. Okay, now if I'm talking about the level 1 interview questions, so first thing they will ask, if you want to migrate from SCCM to Intune, so what would be the consideration for you? Okay, how would you start doing this delegation, or how would you start doing this process? Okay, so for this question, what you can do, first of all, you need to understand, you just ask them, migration, you're talking about managing or exporting all those devices which are there from on-premises to cloud, or you want to keep SCCM license as it is. So, okay, if he's saying that, no, I want to have the SCCM license as it is, what would be the migration process? So first, migration, wherever you do migration, okay, that is where these steps comes into the picture. Okay, the first steps always comes with assessment and planning. Okay, so always check, okay, if I'm doing what is the inventory, how is the workload defined, how is workload for application updates, compliance policy, etc. Okay, how is it this assessment working? That is the first question. Second question is, these devices which are these devices are cloud ready? Okay, so we'll do a cloud readiness check to identify if these devices are ready or not. Then we will look forward for the migration goal. Okay, how would the full migration will work? Okay, that thing. Then we will understand about the licensing, whether we have Microsoft 365 E3, E5 or EMS licenses or not. Do we have co-management setup? Okay, do we have Entra ID Connect established for hybrid identity? Do we have hybrid AD joint devices or not? Okay, do we have co-management enabled or not for SCCM? So these things we will check when we're doing the assessment and planning. Okay, then configuration point, we will tell that we require to have MDM authority set in Intune, so that all the devices, when they are checking in with the signing credential from the tenant side, it should automatically identify those devices and enroll those or register those devices. Okay, then we will create compliance policies, configuration policies, app deployments, all sort of things we will do to configure tenant wise setup. Okay, then if we are looking for the future provisioning, maybe we can use autopilot. Okay, we can set up an autopilot. So these approaches will work, and at the end you suggest them. Okay, from the costing wise, you suggest them that I would request, once the workload are migrated and stable, okay, we can plan SCCM retirement, we can decommission SCCM. Okay, that way we can back up all the documentation which are there for configuration before the decommissioning, and then later we can decommission SCCM. So wherever you go, always talk about how you can do a cost optimization. Being a L2 guy, if you are giving a solution of L3 and L4, that they will give you a kudos. Okay, they will give you a thanks, and every employer, they don't want to have only one resource for doing one particular job. They want a person or resource or consultant who can drive the entire show, and he can manage all sort of, he should be versatile. Okay, to be very frank, he should be versatile, he should be knowing everything. Not, I mean, if you're not master of all, still you can be a jack of if you're not master of all and jack of none, that should not be a case. You should be at least, even though if you're not master, it's still you should know how does that thing work. Okay, at least you should tell them that, okay, I know how chat GPT works, okay, or how Copilot works. Okay, I can tell them like Copilot is a piece of portion of chat GPT. It comes from the NLPs and all coming from there, then ML is coming from chat GPT. So Copilot is 90% dependent on chat GPT. Okay, all these GPT models it's using right now. So likewise you can answer, even though you don't want to get in depth into but you should tell like, this is what I know. Okay, maybe I require some time to investigate further, and can, if you want some deep knowledge on that, okay, deep seek knowledge, we can do that. So that was the question from SCCM infrastructure. How would you manage to migrate? So these things we will check before migration. We will assess the requirement and identify how then are we ready with the environment stuff or not. Okay. Then they will ask, how would you troubleshoot a device that fails to enroll in Intune? Okay, this is a very common issue when you're doing troubleshooting or when you're doing the enrollment. This questions comes first. So enrollment process, first of all, we need to identify what is the prereqs. Okay, all the issues, okay, all the solutions which you are providing, that comes with one prereq. Okay, so before doing any setup, we must check the prerequisites. Okay, so what is the device prerequisite? Okay, for example, Android 13 or Android 11 is not supported. Okay, what if that person is using Android 11 and he's trying to enroll the device, and he's not able to get it through. Why? Because that device does not qualify for the prereqs. Okay. Second thing. Okay. So here we'll talk about device prereqs. Okay. Then we will check about the network. Okay. Network connectivity. And third, we will check about the user license. So when you're doing the enrollment and if it's failing, first of all, I will check the device prereqs. Okay. If the device prereqs is fine, device is on Android 14 or 15, and device is coming from Google, maybe it's a Google device, Pixel or something, and network connectivity, sometimes it happens, user is on Wi-Fi and he's trying to connect and do the enrollment, it does not work. When we say disconnect the Wi-Fi, come to your mobile internet and then try to connect, okay, it works. So that is also flip. Sometimes if he's on mobile network, you just tell them to do a Wi-Fi enrollment, it works. User license, users should be having a license of E3, E5 or EMS. Okay, that is the first thing. And MDM authority should be set. If MDM authority is not set, the enrollment will not work. Okay. So these things you should check. If you are using, for example, if you are having Windows devices, okay, we are doing Windows devices. So there is a command called dsregcmd/status. Okay, so that command will give you whether this AD joint is equal to yes or not. That is the first thing you need to check. If the AD connect is not there, or maybe if the group policy is not installed, group policy is not there, so AD joined will come as no. Okay, so that way a device is not joined to Entra and it will fail to enroll. Okay, plus network connectivity, as I said, do check is there any firewall or any proxy that is causing a problem, or we have a valid date and time on the device. Okay, so this thing you mentioned, like proxy, I will check the proxy, I will check the firewall if there or not, I will check the valid date and time on the device or not. Okay, so these things I will check and identify, yes, this is correct, and everything is set up fine. Okay, so that was the question for the this setup. The next question that was asked, how what I said, that was the just recalling it. So the next question that he asked about, yes, SSM hierarchy that was asked in the question. How is your how have you worked on SCCM before? Okay, don't say no. Okay, tell that yes, I did work. I'm talking about the L2 guy. I did work, but I did not have much visibility on the console, and we were having a read-only access, and I was only working on to add the devices into the device collection or something like that, or maybe an application this collection. So he's asking, how is your CCM infrastructure defined? Why you using like when you should use CAS and when you should not use CAS? Okay, that is the question asked. So current environment is there is one primary site, okay, and there would be like 6 DPs, okay, and one management point, okay, something like that you can mention. So if he's asking like why you don't have CAS, okay, so CAS is needed, which is called central administration site. So CAS is needed when you have 150,000 plus devices, okay, at that so using so you have 150,000 plus devices or clients in your environment, then you require a CAS. Okay, otherwise it's absolutely not necessary to increase the complexity. Okay, primary site is more than enough to manage these things. You can have one primary or you can have 2 primaries, but try not clutter the environment. If you don't have that much devices to maintain, cache is absolutely not needed. Then his ask was, which tool do you prefer most for the patching? Whether is it SCCM versus Intune? Okay, so SCCM having more granular control over the patch management. Okay, we were having offline servicing, we were having a custom schedules. Okay, but here in Intune, it has been more simplified. It's less granular, but it's fine. And we have cloud native. Okay, so through cloud native directly, Intune connects to that device. It automatically fetches the latest and greatest patches directly from the internet. So users should not be worried about anything. As soon they connect their machines to Wi-Fi, it automatically starts downloading. So SCCM supports third-party updates more robustly, where in Intune it's very limited capabilities. Okay, so that way you can tell this. Uh, Also Intune, in SCCM we require a WSUS. Okay, here we do not require any WSUS. We do not require any additional software update point. We don't need to sync SCCM with Microsoft Update Catalog. We don't need to configure any classifications, schedules, products, all sort of things. We don't need in like SCCM. So here it's very straightforward. As soon the update ring is created and you decided the ring, like first ring would be the test, second ring would be you know number of like for example, if I say uh, let me create a shape here, if I can do it. 1 second. Okay, so I'm just trying to create a role. Okay, so what I'm trying to say, for example, you have ring. All right, I think it's shift arrow or hold, not sure. All right, not working. Okay, so what I was trying to say, in ring there is one ring which is catering for the test. Second ring would be catering the lesser number of the devices, maybe 100 devices, just a pilot. Then third ring is gonna be 500 devices, and the fourth ring is gonna be uh, adding the all production devices. So that way you can manage uh, Intune patch management. Okay, and that we can ensure that yes, these limited devices are having those patches tested, and if these patches are working fine for these test environment, then you can trigger to next level. Okay, so that was the question for patch management. And so L2, they do not ask much questions about it. Only the troubleshooting part, like if the device is failing, if the device is not getting enrolled, or if there is any particular application which is keep on failing. So how would you troubleshoot? So more of, on top of it, more of they are looking for your analytical skill, how your reasoning is working, how confident are you. You can tell them that you are using most of the troubleshooting, you're using AI tools. Okay, for example, you can mention that you're using Copilot, which is integrated with Office 365, and it's permitted in my organization. And we also have a in-house legacy app, okay, that we are using, which is based out of GPT model. So we are also using that internal app through which we are looking for the error codes, we are looking for the troubleshooting steps, and we're looking to fine tune the troubleshooting and how easy and simpler way we can fix the problem without creating any chaos in the environment. Okay, so if you're telling that yes, you're using AI tools, so your portfolio becomes more extra layer of, I would say, visibility comes if you're looking using these AI tools. So try gauging out the new tools which are available in the market. Try to learn those and try to add those in your interview calls. So that way it gives you extra benefit of the selection. Okay, so that was the first round, and that is all about how the technical jargons questions and ask that happened. Second round was the client plus manager. So client means that person is from the account. It's a new account. It's a transitioning, and that person is there in I think Australia. I'm not sure about it's Queen's Ben or something there. Okay, and one manager. He's from India and he was sitting in Chennai. So that was the second round, and second round was quite imitating. It was more of no nothing technical, but it was more of understanding about your persona. Okay, so in this question, the first question was asked, "How good are you with the transition?" Okay, have you done any transition before? Transition means there is one project which is coming from a foreign client, and you being a offshore, so how would you take that transition? Okay, in transition there was two scenarios. One, would you like to you how would you like to create your team, and how would you start the transition? Okay, there are two options. One, would you like to be with the client at client side, okay, and understand the infrastructure? Or second, would you like to be at offshore sitting with your team and start working? Okay, so approach was the first approach is why, because when you are sitting with the client, so if the question is asked like how would you go with the transition and which approach would you like to take, so tell like I would prefer the first approach 99.9%. Okay, where I am sitting with the client, I will have a client repo. Okay, second, I will in lesser time I can extract as much information as possible. Third, I will collect all sort of documentation which client can directly provide it to me, rather than I should go to Teams and do all sort of things. Fourth, I can do a direct interaction with the client so I can understand more about his pain areas. Okay, why this project got shifted from one client to one company to another. There could be something that was a pain area that had not been uh, catered properly. So I would like to understand the pain area. So wherever you are, like as an architect or as an technician, okay, wherever, always look what is the pain area. Okay, if you're getting a chance, a new start, okay, you're getting a new project, something like that, first part is to emphasize on the pain area. What was the pain area? Why did client shift from one project to another? Why did he don't want to commit or continue with the previous account? Maybe some reason, right? So first identify what is the pain area. Second, what is the uh, area of improvement? Okay, what could be area of improvements that you can bring on the table? Okay, that is thing. And then users ease. Okay, users ease means how you can make your users available so they can understand the technology, they can utilize things in a lesser span of time, and they can use it in a more sensible way. Okay, rather than one IT team, he's running after all these users and he's fixing the Outlook problem, he's fixing the out of office problem, he's fixing the Teams issues and all. Sometimes happens, people just calling ki I'm sitting in a client meeting and my team's just hung, I'm not able to do anything, or maybe I'm doing a recording and my recording got stopped all of a sudden. So these are the application issues. This is nothing to do with uh, you know subscription or services. Okay, because it's a single user issue. So single user issues, when you're troubleshooting, always ask that user, is this only you who are facing the problem, or is there any other people also? For example, in this call in class also, if one person is trying to attempt to join this meeting, but he's keep on being declined or rejected or something happening. Okay, so but other people are able to join, but what if he's putting a message that we are not able to join the meeting? So we should ask, is this you or someone else also having the similar problem? If they say yes, the problem is quite it resembles like everyone is experiencing the same problem, means it's a global outage. Okay, if any single person is having issues, then check what is the configuration of his machine then versus the working machine. Okay, what sort of accounts, permissions, what sort of licenses are there? Okay, why he's not able to log in? Try asking him to connect with different machine and check if that works. Okay, if that is also having the same problem, means something with the user persona, something user profile. So we can try logging our login credential with his teams and check what is the problem. If we are also experiencing the same problem as him, which means there is something with the application side. If we uninstall, reinstall and fixes the problem, then fine. If not, then try giving him another computer and test it out. If that is also a problem, means something with the user profile or something with the we need to escalate this with Microsoft. Okay, so pain area of improvements, users ease, how we can do easy stuff for the users, and automation. Okay, so how we can automate things. Okay, and how we can remediate the problem. Okay, how we can remediate the problem. So these four things I will when I'm sitting with my client, I will ask and I will figure it out and fix it. That is the scenario one. Scenario two, how would I create a team and how would I manage my end user computing department? So first of all, I would ask, I'll have one architect. So that architect will consolidate all the documentation. He will undergo all sort of current infrastructure and identifying what is the area of improvement, what is the pain areas, all sort of things, and where we can give extra credit to client, how we can pitch in, how we can give him in the same amount. So one more thing just coming into my mind. For example, if client is paying you 100%, it's not just client. If you're an employer, maybe if he's giving you 100%, okay, so you try to give him in return, okay, 200%. Okay, so that way your visibility will increased. Okay, because you are doing something special than others. If you are like what if you are just doing what I say, if you're just doing 8-hour shift, okay, so 8-hour shift, so try increasing that to 10 hours. Okay, I'm not saying just you start doing it right now, but I'm saying just to, if you want your visibility to be extra, measured in an extra layer, or maybe extra uh, in terms of taking you from all those resources apart, then try doing something extra which others are not doing. Okay, that way you can have your visibility count. And if you're giving the 200%, you will be becoming master of your tools. Okay, your technologies, plus you will having a good command over the infrastructure which you're going to handle. Okay, third, I'm talking about the transition. Also, I'm talking about in general, if you are in the current project, also if you're working on it, try implementing this. This will definitely work out. Okay, third, try to engage yourself as much as possible. Okay, so now in the second round, when I'm saying I'm sitting with my client, that is piece of cake. If that is not working out, I will create a team which will, where I have an architect. Okay, he will consolidate all sort of things. Second, I will have a sort of a team member who will work on the tickets. Okay, and he will extract all 6 months data and he will analyze all sort of tickets and what was the pattern. Okay, one person, he is from the application packaging, he will extract all sort of applications which are there in the environment, plus he will also look for the licenses. Okay, and the metering or maybe usage of the license, how the license were used. Okay, so that way I'll define these types of members in my team who will churn out all sort of uh, material which are available with the client, and I will try to deep seek into it and understand the entire infrastructure. Okay, so that was the scenario 2, where we as a lead, as an architect, he did not possess to get an opportunity to go on site, but he got an opportunity to create his own team and working offshore with the client and setting up a repo. Okay, sometimes you do not require to directly and get an interaction for the client, but you try to connect with client as frequent as possible and try to give him fruitful information. Okay, and tell them that this was the earlier setup, now we are just confident to, if we're changing this setup to this, maybe that could increase the number of, you can talk about the fluency, or you can talk about the percentage wise, that this much percentage will suffice. Okay, and we can reduce this manual efforts. For example, if we are doing any there was an application called SAS. Okay, so that SAS application was for installation, it was taking around something 3 hours. Okay, and with automation, okay, you did a silent install. Okay, and for this 3 hours we require one dedicated person, okay, who was sitting with client, okay, and doing all sort of things. So one dedicated person was assigned and he's doing the 3 hours installation. For example, if you're doing in one day, if you're doing uh, 5 installation, so he's spending 15 hours, okay, just fixing the one SaaS installation. So for that we did automation from the background. Okay, and that was the silent installation, and that way we do not require a person especially sitting for each machine and installing this. Okay, so that way it reduces the count. So try to identify where the extra efforts are going or manual efforts are going, and that you can curb by doing the automation. So automation, it does not need you require to have a PowerShell scripting and all. You can connect with the development team or developers team. You can ask them to create a script and you can tell them the scenario. Here your requirement is to engage with the team. Okay, as a lead, your requirement is to push, pitch in, push and fix the problem and give the solution to the client. So if your solutions are like approachable, if it's seriously figuring out fixing the problem in the environment, your rapport with the client will definitely increase, and he will give the recommendation for your uh, promotions and all sort of things, or kudos or praises, whatever, he will definitely come in. But your area like your requirement is to identify these areas and fix it. Okay, so that was the question. Then the next question was how would you manage the software licensing thing. Okay, so for example, every now and then there is new software is coming with the latest updates, with latest compatibility or something like that. So how would you keep an eye on these client applications pertaining to EUC? Okay, so in current scenario we require a dedicated person who will be checking with the vendors what is the latest release of the application. He will extract that information, he will create Excel or whatever more he can connect with the vendor and collect the information. Then he can use that consolidated report. We can connect to the client in a meeting, okay, where we can represent this Excel sheet. We can mention like this is Cisco WebEx. Okay, this is costing us like something $12, something like that. I'm just giving a vague information, $12, and we have like 100 people who are using it currently. Okay, and we got the latest version of it, but at the same time we have another similar software which is charging us like $8, something like that, and it is also quite doing the same thing as it is doing. So why not we can have a replacement, something sort of things. So you can suggest this to your client, and if that is reducing the cost and if that is using the same functionality, definitely your client will appreciate and he will switch to that license rather going with the legacy one. Okay, so that way in software assessment we have a dedicated person who is managing all these information, is collecting the data and then he's connecting with the client, getting the approval, and then application packaging team in the background, they are working out it to uh, create the new package and then install it. Okay, so that is software central. Then the next question is coming, what if uh, you have a major escalation in your environment, okay, and you are the one who's working as a lead, okay, what would be your approach to fix that problem? Okay, so, and what is the SLA matrix? Okay, this is very common question. What is the SLA matrix? Like, what is for P1, what is for P2 and P3 and P4 and all? So what if P1 came on the weekend at midnight at 1 o'clock or 1:30? How would you react? Okay, so this is where your interviewer will check the approachability of yours, and how uh like how responsible are you, for your client and your environment. So being as a lead, it's your end-to-end responsibility to manage the show. You cannot deny that it's 1:30 a.m. at midnight, on weekends, and I'm having a sound sleep. I just, I don't want to cope up. I don't want to connect on the call and whatever. So whatsoever person is sitting on the on call, he must call you straight away, tell them that this is the problem. You straight away connects, set up a bridge. You connects to the change management team. You connect with the problem management team. Tell them that this is the problem. Set up a bridge call and connect with the vendor if possible. Okay, if it's issues, if it's a wide spread issue, connect with your vendor directly and tell that this is the problem, and start troubleshooting. Okay, take the remote of the machine, understand, because sometimes users giving you vague information. Okay, even though the things are quite capable, things are working fine, but still they don't want to use it the way we as an admin using it. Okay, so you need to take the remote, identify what is the problem. Sometimes it happens, earlier we used to have Java issues. Okay, so one of the website is it is dependent on Java. So as soon they are launching that website or application, it does not show you some graphical interface. Okay, so that was because the dependency on Java, there was a certain version that was not there on that machine, and that has created a P2. Okay, P1 and P2. First it was P1, then it came to P2. So you tell them the scenario that, okay, I had a application with user that was a legacy application that was dependent on Java version, certain version of Java that was dependent, and since we updated the Java in background on all the machines, and that has corrupted that functionality, and that software was critical. That software was a payroll software. Okay, so payroll software is very critical, because through which we are sending payments to the vendors, we are sending payments to employees, all sort of priority payrolls are getting rolled by that software. So that software was very critical. So we identified what is the root cause. We assessed with the vendor. He suggested that this is the Java version we require to have on this PC, so that this functionality will be enabled. Once we uninstalled and reinstalled that Java version, and then we tested out, it worked fine. Then we set a exclusion for these number of machines where we do not require to have a latest Java installed. Okay, so all these machines were kept into the exclusion so that these machines won't get latest version, and that way we figure out, we fix the problem. Okay, so whenever you're sharing a real experience, whatever is your current infrastructure, if you are having experience in you're sharing, it gets, it adds more what I say, engagement. Your manager or your interviewer, he pays attentions. Okay, he understand that yes, you are coming from the real world scenario, and this is something that you have already experienced and you have resolved. So tell them like these were the uh, issues and concerns that we acted on it and resolved this on priority, and that was the all sort of how do you monitor all sort of how do you monitor all what I say incidents and requests and changes that is there in the infrastructure. So tell them that we are using currently ServiceNow. In ServiceNow, we have created multiple dashboards. In that dashboards, we have multiple type of uh, what I say, like ticket history, what is the trend, how many tickets are assigned, and when was the last updated, when which ticket is aged, and all sort of is different what I say, pie chart, okay, sort of things. We graphical of representation. We have created a Power BI and all. So if you're not comfortable with Power BI, you can simple tell them that on ServiceNow we have created different type of reports through which we are assessing. So and for changes we are using Jira. Okay, or maybe if you're using ServiceNow, you can mention that we are using change management through which we are keeping an eye all the changes. And beforehand, like before a week, I collect the data from my change manager, and I used to see like what changes are there in planned for this week in my infrastructure, or maybe in other people who are doing the changes. So I'm also addressing those on change management call, and I'm also looking at other changes which other persons are doing, and I'm identifying whether that change can eliminate can extend any sort of abnormality in my requirement environment. If that is causing a problem, I then and there stop them, like first test this in the test environment and let us know, or produce the result and let us know how that functionality is working. If this is not impacting, then I'm approving the change, and then I'm going it. Sometimes it happens the change is already tested in the production environment, but still that fails. Okay, and then that gives freaking like spoiling all sort of infrastructure, and all users may get impacted. So at that time you must be proactive, since you are aware about the change, and you straight away go and revert the change right away from the team who has owned that change and he has executed it. So that way you can be on top of everything. So before this escalation gets widespread, you better really you stop it right then and there. And like reports, changes, incidents, and all sort of things, tell them that each incident I open manually by my own, and I look at what troubleshooting is it being performed and what approach is the user or my technician is using. If they are using anything which is quite annoying or maybe old, okay, I suggest them to use this tip or this skill or this command. Using that you can fix the problem. So in our current scenario, just giving you this training example, we were having Windows licenses expired. Okay, what if you're not aware about how to re-add or append the license? It would have been a tough situation for you. Okay, you would have been literally waited on the same operating system. You did not even know how to rearm or how to re-add the license. But since it's part of the troubleshooting and I was aware of it, I had used it earlier, so I given you the command straight away. So that way it saved your time. At the same thing, when you are doing L1, L2, okay, and you working as a lead, so it's your responsibility to narrate and fix the giving the fix right away to your L1, L2 agents. Okay, so that way they will not spend much time identifying the problem and fixing it out. Rather than they will learn new things as faster as they can. Okay, and then they will implement it, and we will have the productivity 10 times better than the previous one. Okay, so that was the question for the monitoring. Okay, then the next question was uh, how do you manage your IT admins which are sitting in client side? Okay, so why this question was asked? Because there is lots of racism happens, racism. Sorry. So why? Because they are sitting in onshore, we are sitting at offshore, and you being as a lead here offshore, you're giving the commands to them. Sometimes they get racist, like why you are telling me like this and all, do this. So try to diplomatically tell the solution, or diplomatically talk to them like, this is what I want, you if you can fix the problem or not. Or maybe you can also, if it's a new client, you can also engage your client for the communication, or you can tell your client like, this is what I've asked with one of my on-site technician, and this is what I'm waiting for. So at that level, the client will emphasize, it will connect to that local IT team onshore, and it will get the data from there. Sometimes it gets harder to get the information from IT team. Okay, so try to create good repo with the client technicians or IT team at first go. Do not try to giving the commands directly straight away, because that way it may turn out in a different situation. Okay, so that is how you're managing. And I've been giving the privileges to the IT admin team, that tell them that we are dependent on you heavily, and we require your intervention and your throughput all the time, so that way we as an offshore can reduce your work. So tell them that we know you're already occupied with lots of things, being as an offshore and client facing. It gets difficult sometimes to reject giving the solutions. Sometimes people can straight away walk into your room and can give their laptops and tell them to fix this problem. But at offshore, absolutely this is not a case. We can close the teams, we can go outside, that way the status will be away. Okay, but for you it's difficult, though we understand your pain area, and that's why we are here to help you out. If you're getting any sort of extra burden, please do share with us, so that we can suffice and we can help you out as much as possible. So that way they will feel relaxed, that way they will feel that, okay, I got something helping hand, okay, and I should be relying on these people, and these are there to help me out at the end. Okay, so that is the end goal. So that way I relax, or I give extra room to my IT admin teams, and that way I manage. Then as lead, okay, what is your core responsibility? How do you interact clients? Okay, how do you connect with the client, and how do you give updates? So as a lead, we set a bi-weekly call, or weekly call. Okay, in that weekly call, I represent all sort of tickets which are there in the environment, all sort of application packaging stuff which are doing. What's the update on the applications? What is the UAT process, and all sort of things we can do. Giving the Windows updates. If there is any migration happening, we're giving the updates on that. If there is any licensing which are required from client side, I'm also putting that in the deck, so that I can seek clarity on from the client. Also, looking for what is his expectation from the client side, what is his expectation in the coming month, what he wants us to achieve, what he wants us to fix. Okay, so that way all these thing we are setting up in the client call, and we are taking those takeaways for this week or next week. Okay, and in the next week when we are coming up with the latest update, we are also ensuring the previous ask which were there, that has already been closed and completed. Okay, so that way I'm setting up updates with my client. Last question was what he told me, yeah, about the flexibility in the shift. Okay, as he said, like this is gonna be an Australian shift, which is like in India time it's gonna be 3:30 a.m. How would you like to cope up? Okay, so see, in IT, you can never deny, because since when you're doing signing the employment form, you abide that yes, I'm open for 24/7 shift. Okay, though if your shift timing is a bit hectic, maybe, or a graveyard shift, something like that, so you can ask like, oh, fine, I'm good with this. Do we have any arrangement of transport or something like that? If that is okay, then I'll be more than happy to travel across, and I can be at time in my office. Because if I say 3:30 a.m. Morning to be in the office, it's absolutely not normal. and you don't want to drive in a midnight, just to reach out to your office. So better you ask something which is quite easier for you. You can sit and relax, and you can travel to the office, and then by returning you can ascertain how would you like to come back. But try to uh, try to make yourself available at any interval. Okay, don't be hesitant. Tell them like, okay, fine, if I can make myself adjustable, I can make you know maybe I can be nearby to the office or something like that, if that works out. Otherwise, traveling by the cab is okay, fine. So shift timing, why they ask? Because they want how are you in a comfort zone, or are you the one who wants to play from the different side. Okay, you just not you know I hope everyone is aware of football and cricket. Okay, if you guys love those sports, so no one is using the same trick and trend like in football. Also, no one is kicking out the ball from one direction only. Okay, everyone, they don't just stick to one direction. They try out achieving the goal from all sort of direction with your team's effort. Okay, so it's all team effort. It's all like everyone's what I say approach, so that you can achieve best out of it. So that is how you like give a confidence to your interviewer that yes, I am very much aware about the situation. They will also talk about the layoffs and all. It's happening in IT industry. The recessions is coming and all sort of things. Why you want to change the job and all. So the last question was, why do you want to switch to the company, or why you want to be with us? Okay, so research your organization wherever you're going for interview. Okay, ask, understand how is like in ambition box you can get the details. Okay, you can mention like since my roles and responsibilities is something that I want to achieve more. My vision is something that I want to become as an enterprise architect or a cloud architect, where I can utilize my skills and I can better deliver 200%. Okay, and I can also nourish my knowledge base. So, and also tell them like in my previous organization we had very what I say limited capability or capacity to exploring the AI models or AI tools, but I want that flexibility here, so I can at least leverage those AI models and I can utilize this in our infrastructure, so we can have more robust and environment, and we should have a less dependency on anything. Okay, so that way if you are looking for how you can increase the productivity, how can increase the revenue for your client, he will be more than happy to anything. Okay, so try out these things. That was the last question that was asked. How flexible are you and why you want this company to join? So tell them like, this is my roles and responsibility, and I've heard about this, that you guys are more into innovation and you're more into you're not stick to the legacy approach. You're more into aiming for the futuristic new technologies, and you want to uh, enable your infrastructure with latest AI. So of course, this is, for me, it's a win-win situation, and I want to come along, bring my expertise here, so I can give a better result. Okay. So all these questions, if I let me see if I can frame it out and I can give it in the document. Okay, but the session is already recorded, so it will be already uploaded on the anectens.odoo.com, so you guys can also refer from there. That was all questions. Anything that from you guys you want to ask or append?
Yeah, couple
I
of
think
things,
then,
sir.
yeah, I'm sorry. One last thing is, then there was a face-to-face round with that person. Okay, in the face-to-face round, in the face-to-face round, he just wanted to read out the persona of that person. Okay, he wants to understand how confident are you and are you the right resource, or are you the right person who should they offer? Okay, so that was the face to face. Then there was a HR round where the negotiation parts comes into the picture. So negotiation part, just to complete this, sorry, negotiation part. So he is actually looking for 40% hike. Okay, so here 40% hike, uh, plus also he was looking for on-site opportunity. Okay, opportunities. Okay, so these two things, that was his paramount uh, priority, right? So they said like on-site is not available at right moment, so he is good with 40% hike. Okay, so 40% hike is good, but sometimes when you were taking the take home, okay, take home salary, so check, there is no there is no vague, I'm sorry, I'm not sure if this is right or not, vague components added. Okay, there's no vague components added, and you are getting the right take home salary, net take home salary. There should not be number of things like depends upon your performance and all variables and all sort of things. Straight away plain calculate your salary and tell them like, this is what my net home take home salary that is needed, and on top of it whatever you're giving, I'm fine with that. Okay, but don't compromise on the take home. Okay, now sorry, so that was the last thing. Now please ask quick questions.
So you mentioned about the automation and you mentioned Puppet. So is that commonly used for automation? Because Puppet, I thought that is like Unix, Linux platform. Would that work with the Windows as well?
Sorry. So Puppet, we are currently using, this is a DevOps tool. Okay. And this is usually we are using for server patching. So
Okay.
this is a configuration. This is also a configuration management tool.
Okay.
So we can do a provisioning servers, we can manage softwares and services, enforcing compliance, all sort of things we can do from Puppet.
Okay, so then you would be able to use the Red Hat, which is the playbook as well. Would that be the same? Okay, understood. And you mentioned quite a few times SCCM. Is that the same platform as what is known at the moment? That's the MECM or something like that?
Yes, MECM is the same. That is SCCM. So MECM is nothing. It's just Microsoft Endpoint Configuration Manager. So they have just changed the naming convention. If you have, if you are, I think if you have seen the video SCCM session I have uploaded. So on the website, on the YouTube. So there they had. It is like 35 years old software. Now they have changed the name for Endpoint Configuration Manager. Why? Because they have integrated now cloud as well, and Intune and SCCM both are talking to each other. That's why the naming convention just got changed.
Okay. So is it paramount that you need to have some insight on SCCM for going for roles for Intune administration?
Okay, Intune is as I said, Intune is a pre-baked solution where lots of things are pre-baked. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. Okay, but if you're having SCCM knowledge, so SCCM, since it's from the ages, and people who are doing SCCM, they are migrating to Intune because it's also device management, but capability is more of it's on cloud. Okay, so now people having SCCM, they get extra weightage on Intune, and the selection becomes more faster. Okay, but it's not a mandatory skill. It should not be a hindrance that you shouldn't be knowing it. Okay, if you know, it's well and good. If you don't know, that is also not a hindrance that you should not qualify your Intune. So many of my architects, I know that they are working with Microsoft, they are working with the top MNCs, Infosys and all. They do not have any idea about SCCM. Okay, but they're still running their environment more flawlessly, their Intune environment. So it's not a hindrance. Okay, it's just good to go thing.
Okay. And you mentioned about, when the system fails, diagnostic, that sort of thing. And you mentioned DSReg CMD space status. Would that work for both, whether you join the device or you register the device? Would that give you enough information to diagnose whether it is registered or if there's any problem? And when you go into the access into work or the school, you have info. Would that give you more information, or would you need to check the event log that will give you more information?
Okay, so if you talk about this tsreg status command, so
No.
this command gives you details information about your AD, your Entra ID registration status. Okay,
Okay.
which is critical for your Intune auto enrollment process to work properly. Okay,
Right.
why I told you this command, because when your device in a state, if it says yes, like Entra AD joined is yes, I'll show you that. One second. CMD reg CMD. I'm not sure because this device is not joined. Okay, so this is the AD joint. Okay, which is Entra ID joint. So this should be yes for hybrid or cloud joint PCs devices. Okay, and this is also domain joint. Okay, this is also, so once it's suffice, this will also work. Okay, this will say that it is yes. What if it's showing no, means device is not eligible for Intune enrollment? Now I'll show you that as well. So if I go to accounts and if I go to work and school, okay, so this device is not connected to any enterprise, right? So that's why we are getting this no, correct?
Okay.
So this way we can identify what is the Entra connectivity. Okay, second, you can go to Microsoft diagnostic, okay, where you can have Intune diagnostic tool, MDM diagnostic. First of all, you just run it out, so that will enable what is there in your environment, how things are set up, and then you can go with the event viewer log. So MDM diag report.html, this will give you more insight about the diagnostic policies and everything. Okay, and event viewer, again, for enrollment failures, profile is downloaded or not, if you're doing autopilot, so what sort of registry keys should be there and all, so you can go with that.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Yeah, thanks. Okay, any other question, guys? So I'll frame out all those questions, okay, and answer. I'm not sure if I recall because I just came whatever in my mind. I just explained it. So you can refer this video. I'll upload it on the YouTube and also on the website itself. So you can refer it from there. And so if no questions, then we are good to wind up. Only understanding thing is, like, I'll just give you a small example of SCCM and Intune. So there were two brothers. Okay, two brothers. One was using his legacy way of it was a farming field. Okay, and two brothers, they were supposed to manage that field. Okay, so one brother was handling the older way. Okay, managing all sort of farming, another sort of watering stuff. He was using the ancient watering treatment also. Okay, second one was, he was quite innovative. He was trying to test, and he do the investment for all sort of fertilizers and all sort of resources to plan out, make his crops, okay, more greenery, more extra productivity than comparison to the older one. 1 year, what happened, all of a sudden there was unexpected drought, okay, that hit the region, and the city was imposed with the strict water rationing. Okay, so it was really tough time for both of them to manage things. Now the first person who was using the traditional model, he was relying on his old methods. Okay, so he got devastated. Okay, all his watering system failed, his grounding, his whatever seeds he was putting, all sort of things, because of water, those got vanished. Okay, so it was resilient that time, and since the root structure was not capable, it wasn't significant to handle such scenarios, so that crisis hit him. Okay, and he was surprisingly, it was un uh, expected what has happened. Okay, with one person. Now, second person, he was very much aware about he was aware about the forecasting, water treatment, and all sort of things, and he learned how to manage the crops. Okay, he learned how to use the pest control, how to experiment new technologies, how he can yield the seeds and all. So these training investment, he invested time to figure it out, how he can fertilize his uh, crops, and how we can take it to the next level. So when this failure has happened, okay, when this crisis came, the second person was able to produce, okay, larger number of crops than the previous year. Okay, what is the moral of the story is the preparation. Okay, so this training is a preparation. Okay, over the past few years, one person was based out of his old irrigations. He was more of using the old methods to delivering waters, planning the route and all sort of things. He did not experiment anything new. He did not even expect how to work on in the drought situation. Okay, at the second time, when the second fellow, he was more of adaptive. Okay, adaptive in sense, he was more of ready for the crucial steps. He was ready to test the soil. He was ready to test out all sort of water crisis, and he was ready to use those principles which were underlying, and that was not quite dependent from the legacy behavior. So his plant survival was faster than the older one. Okay, now what we understood outcome, okay, in this during the season. So I'm talking about now, I'll correlate what I'm talking. Okay, now the outcome what happened, end of the season, the first guy, okay, he did not yield. Okay, it wasn't sustainable, it wasn't stable. Okay, it was significantly lesser than what he's expected, and he cornered the market. He completely like vanished. Okay, at the same time, the second fellow who leveraged by thriving the challenge, he leveraged the changing environment, all sort of things, he survived. Okay, now core lesson for corporate, for you guys. Okay, the drought was corona maybe, or drought was the recession. Okay, that shifted the market. Okay, new technology came, now AI into the picture. AI is the one which has disrupted uh, all sort of technology. People say that because of AI we lost our job. Now everywhere AI is implemented. Okay, so it's not just AI which is taking the job, it's those people who learned the AI or who learned the new technologies are taking the job. Okay, when we being comfortable, and the first scenario, okay, we were dependent on the legacy term like SCCM or tools, we are just okay with that, we are not utilizing any new technology, we are not learning anything new. It becomes more tough for us to shift in the new environment. Okay, and that is why when you do yourself your training, okay, you understand the feature of the new tools, you understand the principles, how the market or how the trends are becoming, how the industry is adopting the changes. Now uh, everyone is looking forward for the Windows autopilot, and Windows imaging, at times imaging was the toughest job in the market. The person who was knowing imaging and he was knowing purely SCCM, his package was like n number higher than the manager itself. Okay, now imaging is completely shifted to Windows autopilot, and no one is, those people who are knowing imaging from the legacy way, like the waiting for a whole day to set the images, then test it for next day, and then give it to the machines users, which is taking again 1 hour to complete installation and all sort of things. These things has already been now devastated. It has been kicked out from the market. Now the seed of innovation is required, where you require to learn new market shift. Okay, you need to ensure that your investment in the future is on the tools. Okay, so that is the example I just wanted to set. So two people who are working, one is who was dependent on the legacy one, and the one who was keep on doing the testing and all. So try to be innovator, try to learn new things, and don't be a traditionalist. Okay, that is what I want to say. That was the moral of the story. All right, so next session, maybe in coming days, I will plan out how you can define your career path. What could be your certification? What could be the next approach? What tools should you learn? Okay, and how you should elevate your career path. Okay, so we'll talk about it in the coming sessions. Okay.
Yeah, Vaibhav, I just noted a couple of questions from you. So just ping in chat.
1 second. I'm just not seeing the chat. 1 second. Yeah. Okay.
Initially, just I'm concentrating on the questions only, but later, so I just noted the answers also. So
very good. Okay. So can you do can you create a Word document of this and just share across? Okay.
okay, sure,
Lakshmi,
sure.
thank you
Yeah.
so much for pitching in. So that is what I want, like in your environment also. Even though Lakshmi was not, he was only participants. He was not supposed to do this, but still he did. So I praised it. Okay, and I liked Lakshmi's effort. Okay, so that way you can increase your visibility and you can share this in your client. Like, see, I was not part of it, but still I captured the notes, and this is what my finding is, and this is the solution which I think I'm supposed to give. And that way you get extra kudos, and your client starts giving you first priority. All right, good. Thank you. I mean, I will also work on creating the document, and I will prepare and share it. But it's good to know that you did already extra lifting. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yes, appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else, guys? Otherwise, we are good to wind up. We are almost 2.5 to 23. We are going to wind up. All right. I hope the session was fruitful. Yeah. It was informative. It was something that it may help you in the next interviews which we are going to do. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes,
bye bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Bye.